Hello and welcome to this video. So in this video I'm gonna do a full flight and tutorial on how to fly the Airbus A320-200 with the Fenix. So what we first need to do and need to have is a flight plan. And the easiest way to do that is go to SimBrief. So you go into simbrief.com in a web browser and then you click on new flight. For this specific flight we're gonna fly from Stockholm Arlanda, so you fill that in here. The departure, ESSA in this case, and we're gonna fly to a airport called Skavsta, ESKN, it's a short flight. Then we select the airline, in this case it's Scandinavian Airlines, so we select that and we just make up a flight number, for this case 551. We select the aircraft type, in this case it's an Airbus A320-200, and the flight plan will be generated. It looks good here and we can have a quick look here. We're going to departure from runway 01 left and the arrival runway is going to be 26. So it looks good and we click on generate flight. Now the flight plan is going to be generated. And there we have it. Now it's generated. So that's all we need to know for now. We have the altitude 14,000 feet. So we'll move it out of the way and we'll enter the aircraft. So this is the one we're gonna fly today, Airbus A320 with the Fenix. So we go inside the cockpit. If you're outside the cockpit and it looks like this, in Flight Simulator 2024 you usually start like this, you press Shift plus C to go inside. And there we go. So what we first do here is that we need to get the flight plan. You click on the Fenix here. If you have the Fenix version, you click here, tap to import from SimBrief, so it will be imported. And there we can see we have the route, and there's the route as you can see, and also the weather. Next we are gonna start up the aircraft. We are in cold and dark state here. So we click the battery 1 and battery 2. There we go. And then we'll turn on the external power, which is connected outside here. And we'll turn on the ADIRS. We set the left one to nav, the other one, the right one to nav also, and the middle one to nav. By the way, this is not a real procedure on how to do it. This is just a short tutorial on how to get the plane from A to B and from a cold and start. So after that we can turn on the cruise supply, ground control, and we are also going to arm the exit lights, non-smoking set to auto, seatbelt sign on, and we'll start already now the APU. We need to wait for 3 seconds, then we can click on start. So we click the master switch first, so it's on, and then we click on start. Now the APU is starting. And the APU is the one back here. And soon it's gonna become available. But until then, we'll go here and prepare the MCDU. So here is the MCDU. Now we are going to click on Init. And if we generated the route with SimBrief, we can now click Init Request right here. This will bring us the flight plan. We need to wait a few seconds, and there we have it. Then you see the orange ones here. We need to enter some information. In this case it's asking for the flight number. We did select the Scandinavian Airlines 551 in the SimBrief, so we're gonna enter SAS 551 and press it there. That's done there. So we have a look at SimBrief again, and here we can see the initial altitude is 14,000. We can set that, and now we can enter 140 and enter it here for the cruising flight level, and the temperature will come automatically. There we go. Then we go back to the SimBrief and we have a cost index of 15, so we're going to enter that here, 15. That's the one you see here, cruise profile, cost index 15 CI. That's what we want to enter there. Then this page is done here. Now we click on wind and we do a wind request. So we click that. And there we get the winds. Then we click it one more time. And now we can, you see the uplink insert, so we click this one, and now the winds are inserted. Then we get to this page automatically. So what we do then, we click on the ESSA, and now we're gonna select where we're gonna depart from, which runway. So we'll select, in this case, if we look at SimBrief again, we can see here for this specific route we are gonna depart from runway 01 left. So we select the 01 left, and then we're also gonna select the SID, which route we're gonna fly for the departure. And in this case we have TRSC5, or TRS5C actually. So we'll click the arrow here and scroll through until we see, you can click them up and down, and here we see TRS5C. This is the one, so we click it to the left here and then insert. Alright, so now we have it filled in here. We click on the flight plan, then you get to the top, and you click on the arrows up, and here we can see we have flight plan discontinuity. That's all good for now, but now we're gonna select the which landing runway we're gonna be landing on. So we click on ESKN, and for arrival here, and now for this case we are going to land on runway 26 according to SimBrief here. You see here ESKN and 26. So we selected 26, and we need to also select a star if there is one available, and that we can also find in SimBrief. For this specific route we have TRS4F, so we're gonna have a look for that. TRS4F, we use the arrows here again. There we have it, TRS4F. So we click on this one here and insert. And now we're back to the flight plan. We can click here again on FPLN, flight plan, then move up the arrows here. So now we check that it looks good and we don't have any flight plan discontinuities. And we don't have until here, but you see there are blue ones, blue numbers here and blue text here. If it comes after the blue text, it's fine. You can see flight plan discontinuity. So if it's after the blue text, then it's fine. We don't have any discontinuity otherwise here, so that is all good. Let's click on flight plan again, so we have it at the very beginning here. You can also now see that we have a message, wind data uplink. We don't need to do anything here. We can just click for the see all air here. So just click it and that will be cleared. Then we have AOC Act Flight Plan Uplink. We'll clear that one too to get rid of the message. So there we are with that. Next, we are now gonna go back to the EFB, and here we are. We click on my flights, and then we click on mass and balance. So now we're gonna load the aircraft. This will be get the numbers from the SimBrief also. For the Fenix one, I'm just gonna load the aircraft instantly. There we go, and now it's been loaded. We have 153 planned passengers, we have 153 on board, and for the cargo 3,817 planned and loaded 3,817, and for the fuel 4,061 kilos, and we have 4,061 kilos in the tanks. So when that's done here, we click this to get this information to the MCDU. Okay, after that we're gonna prepare the departure. We click here back to the home screen and we click on departure perf, and here we have this one. We are going to departure from the runway 01 left. Config for this one, we'll select the 1+F for the flaps configuration, and then we're gonna sync the load sheet, and we get the takeoff weight here and Mach takeoff weight, and sync live weather. Here we can also see the QNH 1010, and then we click on calculate, so we get numbers here in the orange boxes here, V1, VR and V2. Click on calculate, and then we send it to the MCDU. And if we go back to the MCDU now, we should have the numbers here. If we go to the perf page, click on perf page, we see V1 146, VR 146 and V2 147. If you don't have the Fenix version, you can enter these one manually by using the numbers here and then pressing the buttons to the left here. Okay, so there we have it for now. The MCDU is now prepared. The ADIRS has been loaded. We can see here that we have the flight plan here, or the route is there, so it has been aligned. Now we are going to click on constraints, so we can see the different restrictions. So here you see different restrictions. We need to be above 1,500 feet here and about 205 knots and so on. We'll also click the constraints here on the other side, so we have the same information. Then we're going to enter the QNH. We had the QNH, we could see it over here, 1010. So we're going to enter the QNH, so we get it correct here, 1010. And the other side on the first officer, 1010. And there is also one here in the middle. And we'll scroll this one here until it says 1010. So there we have it. We'll turn on the terrain also. We click here on the terrain and terrain on the other side here. Make sure the anti-skid is on. Now we're going to go up here and make sure that the APU has been started. It has been started when it says available. We'll also turn on the navigation and logo lights, wing lights and beacon. We are ready to start moving. And yeah, turn off lights can also be turned on. We are also going to start the APU bleed here. So that's everything for now, and we can now prepare to start the engines. We'll click here to turn on the fuel pumps. Make sure that they are all, the off sign is off, so we click them. There we go. Also we need to select the altitude here. We're gonna select it to 5,000 feet. There we go. And now we do the ask for the pushback. I'm not going to contact the ATC, we're just gonna do a pushback with the GSX here. And here comes the pushback. APU is running, as you can see there.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
We can also disconnect the GPU now, since the APU is running. So we go here to the EFB, and you click on the main screen here, click on Fenix, and then on the ground services, we click on GPU, and you can see it's no longer connected. And then we can also release the chocks and cones.
Completed. Bypass pin inserted.
Bypass pin inserted. Okay, good. We can go back to the MCDU and click on flight plan so we can see it here. Here comes the pushback thread. And when we start pushing back, we are going to start the engines. Takes a little bit of time for them to do the pushback. We're also going to make sure that the flight directory is on. This one is green and this one is also green, so the flight directories is on. VOR, we'll set this one to VOR there, with the first one here, and the other one also to VOR. We're going to do a straight pushback this time.
Release parking brakes, please.
And now we release the parking brake. And the parking brake is here.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
And now we can start the engines. So we'll do that here. We have already turned on the fuel pumps, which we did over here. So that's all good. And now we just start it. We start with the right engine. Before we can do that, we need to turn on the knob here to the ignition start. So now it's in the ignition start mode, and we'll simply click the number 2 to start the number 2 engine. And if we have a look at the engine number 2, it's soon about to start spinning. You can hear it's coming up with the sound here, and there you see it's starting up. Okay, let's go back to the cockpit. We're also gonna set the flaps for 1 for departure, so we'll do that also. It was already up in this case, but we're gonna set it to flap 1. There we go, flap 1 is now soon ready. You can see the flaps are moving here. And here we can see that the engine is starting. It's still starting up, 41%, 42%, the N2. So we're gonna wait a little bit here. The XX here on the other engine means that it's not started yet.
Please set parking brakes.
Okay, so we're gonna set the parking brake again here.
Waiting your confirmation for a good engine start.
And the engines are still starting up. The engine number 1 has now been starting up, and it says available here. So now we're gonna start the other engine, the engine number 1. So we leave this button here in the starting position and then click on this one to start the number 1 engine. And as you can see here, the numbers are increasing, so we'll wait for the engine number 1 to start. And if we have a look at engine number 1, it is starting up. And we're soon going to confirm we have a good engine start when we can see that it is all good here. So now it's at 30%, 32%, and so on. So it's soon gonna be fully started. We wait for this one to complete. 45%. Soon there. And now it says available also, so all good. Now we can confirm back to the GSX, which I'm using as an add-on for this specific tutorial or any other flight as well. We're gonna confirm we have a good engine start.
Cockpit to ground. We have a good engine start. You can disconnect.
Unlocking gear.
And we are now disconnecting. Takes a little bit of time for them to get out of there, but there they go. And they're also going to remove this flag over here.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Okay, let's go back inside to the cockpit. Here we are. We're gonna prepare for the takeoff and departure. We set the auto brake to max in case we need to reject the takeoff. We'll arm the speed brakes by pulling the knob up here and the speed brake. There we go. And then we are going to turn on the taxi lights. We can now also, when the engines are running, turn off the APU. We click on the APU bleed and click on master switch. So this one is off. Okay, there we go. And we are very soon ready to start taxiing to runway 01 left, which we will depart from in this case. We're also gonna set the TA here for the transponder. If you're flying on VATSIM, this is where you set the squawk code. You clear it here, but for now we don't fly on VATSIM and so on. We'll just set the squawk code for 2000. You clear the numbers by pressing the CLR here. And we also turn this one from standby to auto. There we go. PVS, we turn this one also to auto, and weather also on, in this case to number 2. Okay, so let's start the taxiing. We can, if we check here on the screen, it says cabin check. We will hear a sound soon. That's the cabin crew that will inform us that they are ready for takeoff. We can already now click this one here. It's gonna flash here, a sign that it's flashing here, so we can now click it here and also click the button down there. Now when they will inform us when they are ready, and we can hear it. After that, we also see that the TO config test, we need to test that, and that button is over here. So we click that one to get that one off, and takeoff config is normal. So that is all good. And now we'll start the taxiing. So in this case, we're gonna taxi into the runway 01 left. And we need to release the parking brake. And there we go. So we're gonna do a quick taxiing to runway 01 left. It's a quite short taxi ride. Sorry about the bad taxiing here. My rudders are a little bit sensitive. Very sensitive actually, as you can see. Let's try and taxi straight here. There we go. They're just so sensitive when you move them, so that's why. Okay, so we are soon at the runway. We'll turn this taxiway here. So this flight is going to be a really short flight. We're going to fly from Stockholm Arlanda to Nyköping, Skavsta. So this is just for the tutorial purpose, so we are doing a really short flight. Okay, we are almost at the start of the runway. We can already now prepare and turn on the landing lights here. They are on. Runway turn-off lights are on, and taxi for takeoff, and also the strobe lights. Here we are at 01 left, or holding short of 01 left. And now we're gonna also turn on the transponder to TARA, and also here I forgot to turn on the engine mode. It should be in the norm when the engines have been started. I also see that we have a message here. It says nav occur upgraded. Just clear the messages there. All the messages you get there, you can just clear them basically. Okay, so here we are, ready for takeoff. We have been cleared for takeoff. So now we're gonna taxi into the runway and start. When we do the takeoff, we hold the brakes and wait for the 40% N1 for the engines, and then release the brake and do a full Tuga departure in this case. So we line up first, quite nicely somehow. It's not easy with the rudder pedals. There we go. Something like this. Okay, so holding short here, we are ready to start moving. So holding the brakes, and we are going to increase the power. Moving the throttle to 40% and Tuga. Let's go. Full throttle. And we can see we have the Tuga here. And now we just wait for the speeds. 80 knots. 100. 20. Oops. Rotate, and we are airborne. If we have a positive rate, which we do in this case, we'll turn up the landing gears. Here we go. And now we can now activate the autopilot. So then you click here on the autopilot and it should start turning to the left here. Now it flashes lever climb, so we're gonna reduce the throttle to lever climb. That's where you see it there. And also we're going to disarm the speed brake, so we'll turn off that arm. And we can also turn off the runway turn-off lights and also the taxi lights. So now the autopilot is following the route here that we entered. Here we can see now that we can retract the flaps also, set it to 1 or up. It's actually in 1, but now we set it to up. So here we have it, flaps are up. And we are on our way. We have set the initial altitude for 5,000 feet. If we have a look at the flight plan, or actually sim brief, we can go to sim brief and see what we are expected to be. We are expected to climb to 14,000 feet, so let's enter that now already. Let's assume we've been cleared to climb to 14,000 feet. We'll scroll this knob here, and now we just click it. You can click it with the, for me when I use the mouse, I click the scroll button. So we click it there. And when we click it here, we can now confirm that we have an open climb. So it's doing the open climb until we get to 14,000 feet. You can also see that the QNH here is flashing at 1010. That means that we should be setting the QNH to STD. So we click this one with the scroll knob also on the mouse. Now it's an STD. And we also need to do the same on the other side. So we click this one with the scroll mouse and STD, and then we also here push this one into the STD, and this one you just click with the normal mouse left button. And there we are. So now we are in the air climbing to 14,000 feet, effectively 140, and it's following the route. And this one is going to be a short flight, so we can now see here on the screen the blue arrow indicates where we'll be at the top of our climb, and the white one is where when we will start the descent. So we need to do a little preparation. I have Navigraph, so for this case we are going to prepare the arrival. We'll click here on the arrival perf if you're using the Fenix version, and then we do a refresh METAR. I'm using live weather here and it seems to be quite good. Refresh METAR and then apply METAR. We can say we have winds at 270 and 10 knots. Weather is 17 degrees Celsius and the QNH is going to be 1011. Then we're going to prepare the landing weight. And to do that, what I do is that I go over here. Here we can see something that says GW, and that's gross weight. So what we have in gross weight is 63,400 kilo. And what I do then is I'll take the calculator. Here we have the calculator. So we enter the 63,400 and then minus, you look here, fuel on board FOB 3,320. So we do the 63,400, which is here, minus 3,320. Minus 3,320, and that will give us 60.08. We can make, if we enter it here, we're going to enter this landing weight. If I get it to work here, 60 point, we'll then do 60.1 in this case. Enter, and this is expected where we are expected to be landing and come to a complete stop. I'm gonna do a low auto brake, that will be fine for this case. So there we have it, right there. And we are soon at the top of our climb. We have also climbed over 10,000 feet now. So now we are going to turn off the landing lights when we are about 10,000 feet. And also the seatbelt sign can come off. Okay, now we are reaching soon our altitude here. It's going to level off at 140. And now we'll go into the Navigraph to prepare the landing. So you click on the main screen here, click on Navigraph, or if you don't have Navigraph, you can use some other charts that are available. You can use this one, for example, here. But for this case, we'll have a look at the charts. We are going to land at Skavsta. We have the charts here. We are going to land, do an ILS landing for this tutorial on runway 26. And what we look for here, I'm going to start to look at the DH. You see the ILS here, it's 328. So we're going to enter the 328 here in the MCDU. You can see it says enter destination data, so that's what we will do. And we'll go to the perf page then, and next phase, and there we have the approach. For the QNH, we could see that it was 1011, so we're going to enter that here. Temperature was 17 degrees, so we enter that there. The winds, we'll have a look at the winds. And we can see that for the arrival perf here, 270 and 10 knots. There we go. We can see here that we actually reached our top of the descent already, so we're gonna start the descent. We missed a little bit here, but we scroll this knob here, and we'll have a look which altitude it's gonna be, but we'll just enter 3,000 feet for now. And you click this one until it says descent mode. Now you can also see here that it says more drag. We need more drags, and to do that we'll but drag these spoilers here so that we reduce the speed a little bit. So now we are descending to 3,000 feet, and it's going to follow the flight plan which we have entered to keep up with the constraints that we have. So if we go back here to the perf page where we were, click next phase, and until we see the approach here, this is where we enter the QNH 1011, temperature 70 degrees, and also the wind 270 at 10 knots. And we are going to enter the baro. That was the number that I looked at before. Go back here to the Navigraph, here we have the chart. The baro, what we need to enter is 328. So we enter that here, 328. And click on the right side there to the baro. Then we click on next phase. In case we need to do a go around, we're gonna enter the number here. So let's read at the chart. So here we can see missed approach. Climb straight ahead to 2,500 feet. Radar vectoring for new approach. So we're gonna enter this number, 2,500, over here. There we go, and then we go back there. So now we have entered all the necessary information that we need. And we are now going to have a look at where we are. And we are right here. We have the approach chart. And if we zoom in a little bit, we're gonna see, cannot see the plane here yet. Let's see. We click on flight plan. And so we are getting there. It takes a little bit of time. Here we are with the plane. We have diesel point here. That's where we'll activate the approach, or that's when I activate the approach anyway. So I'll show you how that works soon. We are at 9,200 feet. Let's have a look here. See some error message. We get a warning that the speed brake is still out. So let's retract that. Here's the speed brake. We don't need to arm it yet. We're gonna do that later. And yeah, we are in a good descent here. We are at 8,400 feet right now. We are actually gonna have a look here at the chart again. And here we can see that this is the plane coming in here for the approach here. If we go back to the ILS chart here, we can see that we need to enter the glide slope here at 2,100 feet. So we're gonna enter the 2,100 here to enter it, and this is the glide slope. So let's already now enter it. You can see the restrictions here also. There we have 2,100 feet. And we can see the restrictions since this button is on. So we'll enter 2,100 feet, 2,100, and then we need to click it again on the upper side. Now it's in descent phase, and it says here again more drag, so we need more drag here. Let's go back to the speed brake and drag it so we get more drag to reduce the speed. And now that one disappeared. Okay, and then now we can also turn on the LS for an ILS landing. And we also do it on the same side here, or the other side actually. So now you can see we get these white lines here. Here we can also see the barrow 328, which we entered in the MCDU for the ILS. And we are now on a short final zoom. And the diesel is coming up here. We're also gonna, you can see the STD is flashing. We're gonna enter the QNH here by clicking this one again and enter it, in this case 1011. Go back here and also 1011. And also click this one again and enter 1011. Now we have the correct QNH entered. Now we can see that we are closing the diesel point here. We are going to go back here on the perf page and activate the approach phase and confirm. Now we have activated the approach phase, and we are soon doing the final turn for the arrival. We are at 3,500 feet. We have not turned on the landing lights. Let's do that. And also taxi for takeoff here again, and the runway turn of lights. Seatbelt sign should also be on. For this landing we are going to do a low auto brake. This is the one we saw here when we did the calculation of the landing weight. So we have the low auto brake here. So we click this one and it will do the auto brake when we land. Low auto brake, now it's on. Okay, we are at 3,000 feet right now and descending. We have also can also set the flaps now to 1. Flaps set to 1. And we can now arm the speed brakes. Now we're coming in for the final turn. It seems to be a little bit cloudy today, but it's gonna be fine anyway. And here we can see the approach is coming down closer here. And let's click on the approach now, so we get the approach, or intercept with the approach. And we can turn on this one to get it clearer here. And we set the flap 2 now, because there was this, you can see the restrictions for the flaps here, with the yellow knob or yellow marker here. There is also the localizer, but in this case I just click the approach, so we'll intercept with the approach phase. We have set the flaps to 2. Now we are 7 nautical miles here from the runway. Now we'll turn down the landing gear. The landing gear is over here. Landing gear is coming down. And when the landing gear is down, we'll now set the flap free. We're going to do a full flap landing. So flap free, and we can see that the plane is now descending, and it has intercepted the glide slope here, and we should have the runway in sight. There we go, there's the runway in sight. Now the flaps are set to free. We'll set them to full now also. Flaps are now set to full. All good. So that's all we need now for the landing. When we come in for landing here, we are going to disengage the Autopilot 1 here. You can do a manual, or you can do an auto land, and then you click on the Autopilot 2 also to make an auto land. But in this case, I'm going to disconnect the Autopilot very soon, and then we'll get a warning message. You can click the warning message here, and then clear it here, the message that you get. You can also configure your joystick using the red button on the joystick, and then you shouldn't get that kind of warning message.
1000.
But for this tutorial I have not done that, and here we are coming in for landing. So the flaps are all good, full flaps, and we're now going to disconnect the Autopilot. We have a stable approach, disconnecting the Autopilot. Now we get the warning. We'll click the warning message here, and we can also clear the message there. So now I'm flying the aircraft manually. I'm just going to do small corrections and try to land this Airbus A320. We have the PAPI lights here, 2 white and 2 red. We are on good height and so on.
500.
Now we see 3 white ones. We're a little bit high. We're gonna try and descend a little bit here. And when we do the touchdown, we'll do the full reverse.
100 above.
And slightly pull up the yoke a little bit, or joystick. Minimum, so we continue here in this case.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard.
Retard. Pulling. And full throttle. Knots, and we'll do the reverse, retract the reverse at 60 knots. There we go. So that's basically how we do it. And yeah, I hope you find this useful. Now we're just going to like taxi back to the gate here, but I think that will be not really necessary to show. So this is basically how you do the full flight with an Airbus A320, and it's a very similar procedure for the Airbus A321 and Airbus A319. So yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope hopefully this was a little bit helpful with how to do a full start and then landing. So if you like the channel, please hit the like and the subscribe button, and see you next time. Bye for now.